Alright, so the energy just somehow died down within the rambling of this entire thing because I'm seeing her. It's like it's ready to go. I just need to hear what I said. So, but it just died. So what did I previously say? Oh, because at first I was all explaining about how once again reverse boosting and experimenting on sniping and whatnot and taking a crack on that, which thankfully, which I can now safely snipe without either A, packet burst, or B, having some sweat lord just blast me because my face was sticking out too far. Her by an always 30 to 3 tryhard. But it's just that the thing I really wanted to talk about was concrete opinions because I just had to like take a learn what that definition was and whatnot, and also at the same time is just looking back to the good old days where back when the devs had talent and whatnot, regardless of the game and the issues that plague it and whatnot. It's just that let's see here. What made us have concrete opinion? Oh, it's because what happens is people were just iffy on certain games and whatnot, because as soon as the original Modern Warfare 2 released and whatnot, and then getting annoyed to hell because looking at back to the optimism back in the day of that, it's like, OMG, look at all this you could do, only to find out all these bugs from one main army to the suppressors still showing up on radar and guns being misaligned. And so yeah, it's like, what a list. But then so everyone got their heads out of their asses and whatnot because of that bullshit. So and then looking back to when we transitioned to the first Black Ops, is like, okay, all these features were great and whatnot because half the bullshit is fixed. Half the bullshit was fixed and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, it's like, whatnot, and also, but they had to fucking make a typo on 2 of the guns on the damage values, so yeah, that ruined it. Then transitioning to the original Modern Warfare 3, where it's basic, but people said, don't bring back the bullshit damage numbers, but they did it. They kept it in that way, so that's one thing that ruined it, but then it's also laggy and the maps just suck. Which that's the only other stinkers about it. And then transitioning to Black Ops 2, which is the last good COD, which everyone's concrete opinion was that the game was great, but it'd be nice if people would stop using the target finder and whatnot, so yeah, that's why. And then here we have, now we're here with from Ghost to now, pretty much, because it'd be nice if that wasn't horrible within that regards, and then Advanced Warfare was alright, okay to alright, because the only thing that made that be a stinker was the damage numbers on half the, well, just the weapon balance on half the guns at half the time, because and also the variant system, and it's the first microtransaction game, because there are some people to this day who still have bad RNG that they don't have the ultimate version of the gun, and so yeah, here we are. And then but then once, but I guess actually as soon as Black Ops 3 released and whatnot, people said that was pretty good for what it was, but then once Infinite Warfare released, it's just that people had a Future Warfare burnout and whatnot, so that nobody even gave that a try, even with anyone who briefly played like, oh no, 1 or 2 matches. But then after that, somehow Black Ops 4 somewhat got people back into it because it's Treyarch, but I forgot what it was that made people somewhat hate it and whatnot, so yeah. And then fast forward to 2019, Modern Warfare 19, pretty much, but where as soon as it won everyone's hearts because it goes back to modern guns and whatnot, but at the same time, it got ruined because it's the start of this bullshit that is on how we are today and whatnot, so yeah. And then then looking back to Cold War and whatnot, despite that its merit of issues and whatnot, where such as when you're grinding for the guns, it's redacting on you half the time, and it's packet bursting to hell, even though we're bursting to hell. So yeah, that's another issue. But all in all, but in comparison to the matchmaking in the other games, it's just that it's probably the most playable one out of the bunch. And then fast forward to us here now, where we're just so tired of this series to the point where, man, it's like, will Black Ops 6 be the coup de grace, finally giving up on the series for good? Maybe, because I know I look back to myself, I wish I never did bother to switch to the PS5 in the series generation, because it's like, yeah, I was like, yay, I'm finally out of retirement and whatnot, because I can finally somewhat play these games and give my 2 cents, but only via the beta and the free trial. But at the same time here, but at the same time, it's like, do I really need to bother to actually constantly delete and reinstall once the free trials occur? Like, obviously no, because the files are just getting fucking bigger. Like, stop it. Like we don't need this whole asinine integration of combining, basically calling these games like DLCs, because like, look, as soon as actually no, but actually that's just, it's bullshit pretty much out of the way. So what is it? Like like the previous attempt was I'm trying to see like what other video games have concrete opinion, i.e. like and whatnot. Oh, when it comes to Battlefield, back when the devs had talent. Oh, looking back to when we transitioned from Battlefield 4 to Hardline, like, oh god, why on half of it? That game had 2 betas and whatnot, and it still failed to deliver. Which that's what made us give up. And then all of a sudden, as soon as we transitioned from Hardline to Battlefield 1, Battlefield 1 is just like, despite what it was, is and sitting here, it was great for Battlefield 1 was great for what it was, but then to Battlefield 5, Battlefield 5, it was okay for what it was, but it'd be nice if those devs weren't stupid on their marketing and whatnot, and calling us uneducated and making that stupid trailer, that one stupid multiplayer trailer. So yeah, and then we go to 2042, which we all got mad over because of how horrible that was, only to find out all the talented devs left and hired people that only just said job. So yeah. And then let's see here. And then I did somewhat briefly try to bring up Star Wars Battlefront 2015 and 2017, but then all of a sudden people are all, it's like, it looks pretty because it looks like a ROM hack of a Battlefield, but at the same time, it's just EA ruined it and whatnot within that regards. So yeah, and then last but not least is trying to compare like when EA Need for Speeds and actually, as soon as Need for Speed started running on the Frostbite engine, it's like, oh god, like, yeah, it looks pretty though, but the problem is it still plays like shit, as if Black Box made the game, but ever since Undercover release. But that's a whole different subject within that regard. So yeah, that's all I gotta say for everything and whatnot, because